Welcome back to Patriots No Huddle. Derek Haven, Steve Ballesteri, Mike Diabate, your host, as always, here on the PatsFans.com channel. Just wanted to recap the game against the Patriots' victory over the Browns. Have a couple of transactions to talk about that will be kind of interesting. And then we're also going to preview the upcoming game against the Falcons. So excited to talk about all those things. Before we do anything, I want to shout out to Ian Logue. Thank you for even being remote, still posting up our show online, even though you are just cruising through seas unknown. But before we do anything, Steve, as always, hello. How are you? Steve, you are muted, my friend. Mike, can you hear me?
I can hear you.
Okay, so it's just Steve. Steve, we can't hear you at all.
Yeah, I can't hear Steve at all either.
Okay, so we'll have to. If you're listening live, then we're going to edit that one out later. But let's just. Mike, how are you doing, man?
I'm doing well, D. Thanks so much for the introduction. And yeah, it's never a dull moment in Foxborough. I mean, it's exciting times. Patriots 6-2 heading into, I think, an exciting matchup against the Atlanta Falcons this weekend. But a lot of precursor behavior on Tuesday, and I know we're going to talk about that in just a moment. But to finish up our thoughts on what was a great win for the New England Patriots over the weekend against the Cleveland Browns. Once again, you can't say enough about Drake May and the job that he does and the impact he's had on this team and bringing them to where they are right now. This is a kid that not only gets it on the field, he gets it off the field. He's, the first in line to congratulate his players when they do well, and he's really taking on a leadership role. And I think that's meant the world to this team moving forward. And to me, that's my biggest takeaway from Sunday. It's guys that know their role, do their job, and make sure that they're making the players around them better. And that's something we haven't seen in so long here in New England.
I think that Drake May is. I mean, trust me, I'm the biggest Drake May fan there is. But I do think that there's a thing where he's almost getting it's like almost underplayed
Mm,
how well he's playing right now. I mean, we're talking about a guy that is literally doing things that are historical and and if you want to look at it in a vacuum for just this season, he's a top 3 top 4 quarterback in the league, you know? Um so there's that. If you're talking about it, in general, yeah, I'm sure there's things to get better for sure. Um, he got ripped apart, but you know what, Mike? This is something that um, I really wanted to bring up, um, and it was his resiliency in this last game. I mean,
mm.
getting sacked 6 times, 5 by a future Hall of Famer and Miles Garrett. I just feel like it's hard to not be like, okay, it's easy to flinch when you're in that situation, but he was able to overcome it, still had over 400 yards of offense as a team, and then go ahead and put up a win by more than 2 possessions. I just feel like that's just something to take into appreciation.
Oh yeah, without any question. It's kind of like the Rocky Balboa effect. It ain't about how hard you hit; it's about how hard you get hit and keep moving forward. That's how winning is done. And Drake is learning that each and every day he takes the field. He's learning that more and more, and you're seeing that growth in him, that maturity in him, that really is allowing this team to grow by leaps and bounds. And look, you watch again and you take a look at what the players were able to do on the field for him. Travion Henderson finally having one of his better games as a pro. Yes, I understand the fumble at the end, but I mean, you can't really get on him for a lot of the mistakes that he'll continue to make. That was made at a time where it wasn't crucial to the New England Patriots. Hopefully, he's learned his lesson. They talked to Travion this week, and I know they'll be working hard on that in practice. But bottom line, this team continues to play at a high level, and Robert Spillane, I believe, is the defensive MVP. He is sort of what Drake May is to the offense on the defense. He has meant the world in terms of knowing where to be, leads the team in tackles, and is a leader in the locker room and on the sideline. And that's something that, again, we haven't seen a whole lot of in New England these last couple of years. Players that are sacrificing themselves for the good of the team. That's what you're seeing in guys like May and Spillane. And they're playing at a high level, so they're not sacrificing much statistically, but these guys are putting themselves out there to make sure that their teammates play better. And that's what gives me a lot of optimism heading into now the second half, you might as well say, of the season. We're almost at that halfway point.
I know. Spillane, I thought would probably be more impactful earlier, but he's kind of turned into, I wouldn't say he's turned, he's kind of started being the player that I expected him to be when they signed him. Like they just were like, okay, this guy's going to be the stud in the middle of the defense, and he's just crashing down on folks right now. So, Steve, I know we lost you there for a second with some technical issues. Any leftover thoughts from the last game?
Can you hear me now?
Yeah.
We got you.
Oh, good. Okay.
Yeah, we couldn't hear. I could see you, but I couldn't hear you. So
Yeah, I just thought that Drake May, had a fantastic game considering he was under a lot of pressure. But at the same time, I like you just said, Robert Spillane, I thought had a fantastic game, 14 tackles, an interception, pass defense, 2 tackles for loss. And, this defense, the game plan was geared around stopping the run and forcing the ball into Dylan Gabriel's hands. And I thought they did a fantastic job of that. And that was the key to the game. And I thought their execution, especially in the second half, so much better. It was very crisp. So
yeah, absolutely.
Just a very good win where they put them in the rear view mirror by midway through the third quarter.
Do one of you have the numbers for Marcus Jones's contract coming up?
I do have the numbers for Marcus Jones's contract.
You do. So Marcus Jones got extended. I called Steve. I was pants off. I'm one of the biggest Marcus Jones fans you're going to find. I think he's always been a special returner. I think this year he's turning himself into a very, very solid defensive back. And I thought it was a smart move by the Patriots to go ahead and get this done and get in front of it. You do it at the midway point. Whether you sign a contract or you trade a player, you're always going to get a better deal at the mid-season point than you are in the offseason every single time. So there's that. But Marcus Jones sticking around, I thought it was great for the guys to get around it. And, he's a captain, and I've never heard one person, whether it's the media, players, agents, anybody saying one negative thing about this kid. So I think it's a good thing to stick around. Mike, what do you have for the numbers on that one?
Yeah, I mean, you talk about stick around with Marcus Jones. That's the ultimate analogy. The way he plays is sticky. I think you've seen a lot of people describe him of that. And it really does. It helps him overcome whatever type of height advantage his opponent may have over him. You stay in lockstep and you stay right in their face. You're going to be a tough corner to shake, especially with his explosive speed. 3-year extension for Marcus worth $36 million. There is an upside with incentives that he can earn up to $40.5 million. That places him among the top 3 highest paid slot cornerbacks in this league. And in my opinion, he's worth every penny, not just for what he brings you on the defensive side of the ball, where I think he's having a Pro Bowl caliber year as a cornerback. This guy is a bona fide all-pro, maybe one of the best punt returners in the game today. Patriots knew they had a gem here. They wanted to lock him up. Kudos to them for doing it. Smart move to extend Marcus Jones, who I think will help to pay dividends for this team, not just on defense, but also on special teams.
Steve, what do you think?
Oh, I think it was a great move. You and I talked about it yesterday. And,
Well,
it has
it's the pre-show. It's the Steve and Derek pre-show, as we always have. Sorry, Mike. We're not trying to cheat on you, but I mean that's what we do.
No,
So
absolutely.
and look, this has to be music to the ears of one Christian Gonzalez, because he can look at the Patriots and say, well, you're paying Marcus one of the top 3 of slot corners, and how about some love for the outside corner, right? I want top 3 money too.
Oh, he's looking at Patrick Surtain's deal right now. That's what he's doing. Or Patrick Surtain Jr., but you guys know what I mean. But no, he's getting paid too. I mean, we were talking about it. I mean, we have, Marcus Jones they locked up, Christian they have to lock up. They are going to need to look at who. Steve, we talked about this the other day. Who am I forgetting? Caleb Von Chason, I think, needs to be in the conversation for a renewed contract. And Kyrus Tonga. Yes, thank you. So there's a couple of guys that are going to get paid. I think a lot of people. I had a conversation with someone the other day that they were, like, oh, all these people are going to want to come to the team. And I'm like, yeah, they are going to want to. And the Patriots are doing a good job in that respect of proving that they are a team that people want to gravitate to. But they have a lot of guys that they need to keep. Like some of these guys are on short-term deals that they were like small pieces to the puzzle that they're just clicking right now. And Mike, I mean, we're talking about Caleb Von Chason and Kyrus Tonga and, like small, I'm not saying small, quote unquote, but like small guys in terms of the piece of the puzzle that we weren't expecting, that all of a sudden we're talking about, like, we need to lock these guys up right now.
Oh, absolutely. And again, you're seeing the Patriots clear a lot of salary, and we're going to talk in a little bit about how else they did that yesterday by unloading 2 contracts that, really, for the most part, were, I don't want to use the A word, I don't want to use albatross, but, there are a lot of benefits that they've created for themselves in 2026 and in 2027 in terms of salary cap space. Patriots right now have guys that are coming up on deals. I mean, yeah, they're looking at Gonzalez in a couple of years. They're looking at Drake May down the line and knowing that that may be the most monster extension ever signed in the history of the franchise. There are guys that are coming up that are eligible for deals that are going to want big money, and they're going to deserve it. So how do you do it? You have to clear out the dead wood. And, as much as, of a difficulty is to see guys like Keon White, and especially someone like a Kyle Duggar have to go, Patriots did what they felt was in their best interest in the football team. And it's hard to argue with the results. These are 2 guys that weren't providing a whole lot of value on the field any longer with the new style that the Patriots are running in. And now it gives them the flexibility in subsequent years to be able to do that with the cap space. And stockpiling draft picks is always a smart strategy when you've got the trade deadline looming in just a couple of days here. Expect the Patriots to be active. They've got the capital now to pair and to be able to use in order to be able to prize someone that can help this team for the stretch run. So very well positioned. I want to give a lot of credit to Ryan Cowden, Elliot Wolf, and that front office right now that are doing their diligence in making sure that this team is as stacked roster-wise as you can get heading into a stretch run. Because teams like the Ravens are going to start to emerge now if Lamar is going to be back and he's going to be healthy. The Chiefs are making their run. There's a lot that they need to gear up for. We know the Bills are going to be out for a better matchup than they had in the first time around against the Patriots. They've got to gear up for this now. They're in the thick of these comments. And if they're going to look to topple those teams, or a team like the Colts who's playing red hot, they've got to be ready for it. They've got to have the personnel. And that starts in the front office with making sure that the roster is as tight as it can be.
Yeah, definitely good thoughts. Steve, any thoughts on what Mike just shared?
Yeah, and I'll say this so we can get right into the Kyle Duggar trade. I wasn't thrilled with the return they were getting.
Are you surprised by it though? Like we can be not thrilled by it, but like, are you surprised? Like his stock has been down.
By it, but here's the deal. unless they were clearing out his salary because they want to make a move at the trade deadline,
Yep.
then if that was the reason, then I'm all for that. But I don't particularly care for them basically gifting the Steelers a guy that is a very good safety. Now we know that
He's solid. He's got his issues, but yeah.
Yeah, he's got his issues, but I mean, look, he played hurt all last year, and he didn't really fit the new system that they're running this year. So that's why his value is way down. But I just didn't care for them. Look, we've seen the Steelers secondary the last couple of weeks. Why help them in a stretch run, right? Because basically they were giving them away. They were giving Duggar in a 7th for just a 6th. So
I mean, if you would ask me before, the season before they pulled the trigger on Peppers, I would have rather kept Peppers than Duggar. But
right,
I mean,
well, and again,
this is what it is.
I mean, we'll see how it all plays out. I just
Sure.
that was the only part about this that rubbed me the wrong way, because I'm like, why help them? They're a division leader right now in the AFC. It's not like, Keon White going to the 49ers who are in the NFC. So that's why I was a little, I didn't really care for that. But, if they're clearing that money because they want to make a move and the trade deadline, then I'm all for that.
That's a good point, Stephen. I'm glad that you brought that up about him going to the Pittsburgh Steelers. And Derek, you brought up Jabril Peppers. All of a sudden, you're pairing those two guys in the defensive backfield once again.
Yep.
Patriots had that going. It was a pretty good thing for the Pats, having both Duggar and Peppers. And he's going to a system that he's used to playing in. It's more Belichickian, Mayoian than the type of defense that they're playing in now in New England, where Duggar wasn't quite the fit that he hoped he would be. Nor was Jabril Peppers. So now you're putting these two guys in position where they know each other, they know each other's tendencies, they played at a high level before, they push each other to be better. Yeah, I think you made the Steelers a little bit better yesterday. That's something that Patriots fans should keep an eye on when they're talking about this trade. I know everyone in Pat's Nation is looking at his statistics and saying, good riddance, he's not good. People that are doing that are getting their information off social media. They're not really looking at the X's and O's on the field. Like you said, Derek, he's got his issues, and I don't believe he was a fit here anymore. I think he had to go. But at the same time, Steve, I'm right there with you saying that the return on a player of Kyle Duggar's caliber may have been a little bit less than what I think they could have gotten for him if they really looked at a team that may have been maybe a better fit for them, not necessarily a better fit for Kyle. And the other part of it is we don't know yet whether they did Kyle Duggar a solid. We hear that a lot. 2 weeks after a trade is announced, we hear that, well, we had several suitors, but we asked Kyle, and Kyle wanted to go to Pittsburgh, so we made that happen. We don't know if that's the case yet. I don't know and have any inside information. The Pats have been very tight-lipped on that. I want to be very clear. I'm not speaking for anyone or reporting anything. That's simply my own brainstorming at this time. We don't know. If something like that comes out, then you understand maybe why they had to take pennies on the dollar. But right now, I'm right there with you, bud.
Well, I think the thing with Peppers and Duggar and just the Patriots safety position in general is that the difference is that I don't really understand the Peppers thing aside from what we talked about before the season, which was maybe they just wanted to get rid of all the old captains and kind of like change over the roster and just like recreate the room for whatever reason. But, to me, the biggest thing with the way that Vrabel wants to play defense is, from what I've been told, is that they want safeties. It's not a free safety, strong safety conversation. It's about them being able to do both and then moving around. And they just wasn't the fit there. And Duggar was a good player, then regressed, got better, got paid, regressed, And I just think that there was probably a little bit of just him moving around defenses and things like that. He was hurt. He was playing hurt. I thought he was hurt by that in the public perception last year. And now you move on from him. But to your point, Mike, maybe it's like, okay, you're clearing the books a little bit, getting rid of a bad contract, getting a player a fresh start that he probably clearly needs, and now you're able to go ahead and make a move. So we can talk about that. Steve, Keon White also moved. Unfortunately, just never latched on. I thought he was going to be a menace in this defense.
Yep.
It just didn't happen.
No, it didn't. When Vrabel came on, with a more attacking style, I thought he was going to fit right in.
Between him, Milton Williams, Christian Barmore, Harold Landry on the other side, I'm like, dude, Keon is going to thrive. I thought he was going to have like an 8-sack season. I'm not even kidding. Like I thought he was going to have a monster season.
I think we all felt that way.
Yeah.
It just didn't work out, and I don't think he's a great fit on the edge because he doesn't have those. And I thought he would develop those secondary moves that you see edge guys.
Yeah.
I thought, it turns out, he's better in the interior, where he can use his power. But look, I think he's still a really good player. He didn't work out under Vrabel's system. I think everyone is disappointed by that. I'm sure Vrabel was too, because he spoke highly of Keon White when he came on board. And good for him. He's going to a really good football team who needs help in their pass rush. So he's going to get a lot of reps right off the bat. And again, he's going to the NFC. So I don't have issue one with this. I think this was a good move for all parties involved. And I wish him all the best. I mean, I thought he was going to have a really, really big year, and it just didn't work out for him.
Mike, any thoughts?
Steve said a mouthful. I think right now you're looking at someone who is a very disruptive interior rusher. I think that's exactly how he's going to be used in San Francisco. Robert Saleh is going to love this kid coming in, bringing the power, bringing the thump that he's capable of bringing. And make no mistake about it, he's very adept at being able to do it. But you hoped that he would be able to develop those skills that you need to be a solid edge rusher. And it just never clicked. It just never came to fruition. And I think Steve was right on the money when he said Vrabel's probably disappointed. I think Keon's disappointed. Keon liked playing for a guy like Mike Vrabel. We talked to him earlier this year in training camp, and Keon obviously was not happy with the regime last year, the way things were going. And that's a conversation for another day as to why. But he really felt that this year was a year where he could showcase what he could do. He says, I feel like I'm being coached again. And I like to be coached hard. I like to be, in an environment where my coaches expect a lot of me and they're never satisfied because it keeps him hungry. He's going to a coach that's absolutely going to do that to him each and every day. So Keon's going to like that. But at the same time, it just wasn't the edge fit. And that's what the Patriots needed Keon White to be. And it's just not his style. It's not the way his game in college adapted to the Keon White we're seeing at a pro level. So I think the Patriots did the smart thing, trade him to the NFC, give him a fresh start. And hopefully he'll be able to thrive there. But you have to think the Pats are looking at their edge rush right now. And another name I'm sure is going to be on his way in here before the trade deadline is come and gone. And I think we'll probably get a closer eye or a closer picture of who that might be within the next 24 to 48 hours. So exciting times here for New England.
Yeah, I think if the Patriots are going to add, I definitely think edge rushers are going to be on the top of the list. I just can't really see around it. I can tell you for certainty that that Keon White felt like he was, when you say not being coached, I guess it would be like he felt like he was like just being like he was like, okay, I have to show up at this time, I have to leave at this time, and I'm not gaining anything from it. Like that was it. Like it was just kind of like that was like I'm talking about last year, okay,
Mhm.
and this year I thought he was going to have a monster year. It just didn't work out, and I maybe someone as smart as like Evan Lazar or Alex Barth could fill me in on that because they're ball knowers, as the kids say. But like
That didn't sound right.
that's what they say. They're ball knowers. They know ball. So it's what it is. All right. Steve, I know you're a couple of decades back from us, but this is what's going on. I mean, that's what we say. But I'm shocked by Keon White in one aspect, and I'm not in another because I know how unhappy he was last year. I mean, he did a good job of pretty much saying like not a lot, but kind of sharing how he felt at the same time in the off season. And so I thought that
Yeah,
was one thing.
and the fact that he was a healthy scratch on Sunday.
Okay. Sorry. I swear I'm not trying to interrupt you. On Sunday, he's a healthy scratch. What is your one sentence, your first thought?
He's moving.
Yeah,
That they
100%.
already had.
I knew it instantly. I was like,
Yep.
they're
They
moving.
already have a deal in the works somewhere.
Yep. They don't want to get him hurt. They're just gonna just do the
Yep.
physical, do the bullshit. Okay,
Yep.
move on. Yep.
Yeah. As
Got
soon
it.
as I saw that, I was like, well, he's getting ready to move because they have something in the works that hasn't been released yet.
Right. Yep. Mike, where do you want to go next?
Well, I think, in terms of the moves that the Patriots made yesterday, I know it's going to get lost in the shuffle, but I would caution Patriots fans not to get this move lost in the shuffle because the Pats have already filled one of those spots, one of those vacant spots left behind by Keon White and by Kyle Duggar, by signing John Saunders Jr., the safety from the Miami Dolphins practice squad. And this is a kid that I had the opportunity to talk with a couple of people that are close to the team this morning. And they've had their eye on this kid for quite some time. For whatever reason, they weren't able to get him in at the time that they were looking to sign free agents that went undrafted. But I can tell you that they really were intrigued by the senior year that this kid had at Ole Miss. Played a couple of years, at first, without his within his career. His senior season at Ole Miss, in my opinion, really, I think put him over the top. Led the SEC in turnovers, 3 interceptions, 4 forced fumbles. So this kid is a ball hawk. He's going to keep his eye on the ball and he's going to go for it. That's the type of safety that Mike Vrabel, Terrell Williams, Zach Core want to employ in this defense. And I think this kid's going to bring it. He's got some pedigree and he's got some pro level pop. This offseason for Miami, they played the Jacksonville Jaguars on August 23rd. It was their, I think, second or third preseason game. Took an interception back 51 yards. So this kid clearly, when he gets a beat on the ball, can make something happen. Nonstop motor, and someone that I think can really end up, really helping this team moving forward. I don't think he's going to unseat either of the starters, but you put someone like this in a rotational position, he gives you the opportunity to make plays. So it's not going to be a 100% needle mover when it comes to the New England Patriots for this one. But I would look for him to be someone that does have an impact on this team heading into the second half of the season. And I'm sorry for fumbling earlier, folks. He spent the first 2 collegiate seasons of his career at Miami, Ohio, transferred over
And then
to
went to
Ole
Ole
Miss.
Miss. Yep.
And that's where I really think he went on the national map. Again, when you lead the SEC in those categories, you're doing something right.
What was the first school you said?
Miami, Ohio.
Is that where what was that
Ben
receiver?
Roethlisberger went.
Yep.
Huh?
Ben Roethlisberger went there too.
Oh, okay. That's what I was thinking. I was like, I'm trying to think of a receiver or quarterback or somebody like that.
Roethlisberger played there. Yep.
That's funny.
He's
Um,
good size, this kid too. 6'2", 211 pounds. He's a little bit bigger than some of the safeties that, the Patriots have employed in years past. Again, I'm not saying this is going to be a needle mover, but he is going to be a name you'll hear from time to time. I think he could be someone that does a great job in helping to move this secondary forward.
I think,
Yeah, and
I think, go ahead, Steve.
when I saw this move, again, the first thing I thought of, I remember seeing the clips of him in the preseason, how Dolphins fans were pretty excited with him. And I'm thinking, okay, the Patriots see this guy as a possible dime linebacker, right?
Mm.
When they're going to take a linebacker off the field and add another defensive back, but they want a little bit of a heavier package. I mean, I could see him fulfilling that kind of a role.
Oh yeah,
Um,
absolutely.
if we want to flip the script and move a little bit forward in terms of, what, what we're going to be looking at for this game, I guess let's talk about initial thoughts for the Falcons. To me, the Falcons are intriguing for a couple different reasons. Kyle Pitts has underperformed from his draft status, but I still worry about the Patriots matching up against tight ends. We're talking about safeties. I think there's a lot of mismatches there, and that's a little tough. Drake London is basically like he's kind of a box you out player. He will get into his zone, and then he's able to go ahead and use the back of his body because he's so long, so strong, and he can kind of go up and get it. And then there's no play to make on it. And then you have Bijan Robinson, who is an absolute freak. Absolutely one of the best running backs in the game right now already. I mean, him, Jonathan Taylor, Chris McCaffrey, just off the top of my head, I mean, those three are just monsters. And Bijan does everything. Pass blocks, catches the ball in the backfield, explosive plays. Whatever you need him to do, he can do. So there's some issues there. Penix is going to be probably out. We are recording Wednesday, so it's tough, but he's day to day. So he's probably out, but you do have Kirk there.
No
And
slouch.
what's up?
He's no slouch.
No, he's a good solid player. Yep. And I think Raheem Morris has that defense playing really well, playing downhill. And I think there's nothing to sneeze at. You have a really good cornerback in that backfield, and you have a lot of speed. Overall. So I'm interested to see. I think it's going to be a good contest for the Patriots. Honestly, I think it's going to be a dogfight, Steve.
Well, and it's all going to depend on which Falcons team shows up, right? Are they going to be the team that really dominated the Vikings and the Bills? Or is this going to be the team that got wiped out by the Dolphins last week? They've been kind of...
Does that, to put a pin in that, does that scare you a little bit? It's coming into this game,
because you don't know what to expect from
right.
But at the same time, look, Atlanta has the number one pass defense in the NFL. Now we'll see what happens. I mean, they didn't look very good last week against Tua. He threw 4 touchdowns on him. But again, I mean, this has been their issue. It's like 1 week they're on top of the world, the next week they're down. So we'll see, what happens. But look, they, as you said, they have some pieces on offense that need to definitely be addressed by the Patriots defense. And they have the number one pass defense in the league. They're very stingy, in their pass defense. They can take the ball away. that's going to be a real great matchup because right now Drake May and the Patriots offense, it's like strength on strength, right? You have a really good passing game going against a really good pass defense. Last week it was the opposite. It was in the running game. The Browns had the running game with Quinshon Judkins. Patriots had the number one, or not number one, but one of the top 5, run defenses, and Patriots won that one going away. So we'll see what happens this week. I think it's a very intriguing matchup. I am glad that it's going to be in Foxborough. Because that dome can get loud when things are going right for
them. Let me ask you this, Steve. You say that this week it's going to be pass on pass, like, kind of like, two rocks kind of, colliding. That makes me think that the running game is going to be ultimately important as well. So,
oh yeah, absolutely.
If you want to be pessimistic about it, then
I'm not being
pessimistic. Then you obviously see Bijan Robinson on the other side, and you're like, well,
yeah, I'm just being realistic. Look,
like,
I mean,
we got to deal with that
matchup. Now, like we talked about last week, with the Browns pass rush, if the Patriots can run the football, right, that will negate a lot of that pass rush, and did last week. They ran for 177 yards, and that opened up all kinds of play action for them. Of course, yeah, the running game is going to be just as important this week because, Josh McDaniels' offense thrives on play action and motion. And, if you don't have the running game going, then none of that will work.
Honestly, in the last game, there were so many times where they just looked very stale. As soon as they went to the play action game, not getting too cute with it, just like play action, pass, intermediate throw, let's call it 20-ish yards, 25 yards. That's when they were really moving, Mike. Like that's when they were really just putting the pressure on them. Mm-hmm. And when they get away from it, I'm not sure if they're trying to set it up, but they get away from it, and it's like it does feel like they're a little stuck in mud. And that's no discredit to anything that they were doing. They were trying to basically fight off the pressure from the Browns front seven, and they were dealing with Myles Garrett, who was having a phenomenal game, and they are just trying to get their quarterback into a rhythm. But it's like, man, when they get into a rhythm like that, when they're moving guys left and right, like just a slight rollout for Drake May, which Josh loves to do like the little play action, fake, slight rollout, shot down the middle. There was the Mac Hollins throw we talked about, Steve, over the linebackers, under the safeties. Okay.
Hole shot.
Yeah, hole shot. The honey hole shot. Shout out to Evan Lazar. So like, like that's where they're really in their best form of offense.
Yeah, absolutely. And in order to get there, Steve's absolutely right. And you touched on this as well. Use the run to facilitate play action. Let Josh McDaniels' offense get to work, because that's the way to attack this Atlanta Falcons defense. Right now, coming in, I don't think the Falcons necessarily are maybe even getting enough hype for the defense that they're playing this season. Number 1 overall in pass defense, folks. Number 2 overall in total defense. It drops significantly when you look at their run defense. They're ranked 21st in the league at this point. So if there is a vulnerability, that's it. You attack the middle. They're having difficulty controlling runners. If the Patriots can get their 3-headed monster now, and it's official, Terrell Jennings is the 3rd guy. The Patriots have added him to the 53-man roster. No more call-ups for Terrell. He's the guy. So now it's up to Ramondre Stevenson to keep this wagon on the right trail, so to speak, and to make sure that he's the lead back. He's getting the majority of the carries. I do expect Travion Henderson to get more looks as he gets more comfortable. He'll be a factor in this game. And I do think Terrell Jennings is going to play a role in this game offensively a lot more than we've seen him play in the elevation games that he's had for the past 3 weeks. This is a big time. opportunity for the Patriots running game to show what they can do and open things up. When you do, it'll keep this Falcons defense from getting set, and that's when you can start attacking in the passing game. And let's not forget, Drake May is very adept at being able to get the job done with his legs and being a factor in the running game as well. So all of those factors this week to me spell a very, very heavy emphasis on the run for Josh McDaniels and company.
Well, let me ask you, Mike. I mean, honestly, I feel like it's not a secret to talk about like the Buccaneers being like, or not the Buccaneers, sorry, the Falcons, talking about like using and utilizing Bijan Robinson,
Mm-hmm.
but it's like I feel like the Patriots are going to know they're going to have to crash down on him because they want to contain him, right?
Right.
As Steve would say, and Steve, I don't want to put words in your mouth, but like you're not going to stop him, but you just want to contain him, right? Like that's what you're trying to do. But that means there's probably going to be opportunities downfield.
Mm-hmm.
So that's going to be an issue for the secondary, Mike. And that to me is one of the most worrisome things of this game that I have going into it.
Oh yeah, without any question. And again, what you need to do is take a look at what your opponent is doing well. Rankings are very good, and I know I just fell into the the pocket of getting excited about looking at how these teams are ranked. But to me, the point and the actual stats and the point differentials are where you need to look to find out what this team does well and what they don't. And that's true on both sides of the ball. Whether you're talking about the Falcons' offense, which is pretty much middle of the pack when it comes to all areas, running in the passing game. So they'll get their opportunities. If the Patriots defense is not playing their best game on Sunday, they will get exploited. They're playmakers. You mentioned Drake London. Obviously, Bijan Robinson is playing at a galactically high level. He's one of the best in the league. There are a lot of different ways that they can beat you, and the Patriots have had difficulty covering tight ends. Maybe Kyle Pitts, gets his opportunity to showcase his talents on the Foxborough stage this weekend. But the Pats need to be mindful of what this Falcons team does well, and they have to try to take that away. They've been good about that the last couple of weeks. Mike Vrabel understands that this is going to be an important game for them to remember it because, again, on paper, this is one they should win, but they can very easily end up on the opposite end of a pretty lopsided loss if they don't take this team seriously enough and they're not well prepared enough. I don't think
Yeah.
that's going to happen, but they need to be prepared for anything and everything because Raheem Morris is the type of coach that is not going to leave anything in the locker room. He's going to put it all out there, and he's going to be aggressive, just like Mike is. So really, it's going to be maybe the battle of bulls in a china shop right now, I think, for this weekend for the New England Patriots and the Atlanta Falcons.
Well, I want to thank everyone who's listening live to Patriots No Huddle right here on this channel. And then for those listening later, whether it's on the Pats Fans YouTube channel, whether it's on Apple or Spotify, thanks for being a part of the program. Like, share, leave us a review. Keeps us high in those rankings so other Patriots fans can find us. I appreciate that as always. Before, I guess, do we want to get into I guess let me ask you one question, and both of you one question, and then we'll get into some of our thoughts on some of these games coming up.
Yep.
Mike, if you had one concern going into this game, what would it be?
Whether or not the Patriots are going to be able to consistently utilize the perimeter as they've been doing to take deep shots. This Atlanta Falcons team is very good at being able to eliminate your deep threat. So how well is your offensive line playing? Are they getting the blocking that they need up front to make sure that your quarterback has the time to make completions? Drake May is playing at a very high level right now, and he's masking some of the offensive line deficiencies. And again, I'm not knocking the line here, folks. This is a 10 times better line than we've seen here in a number of years with the Patriots. So I don't want to knock those guys. They're playing their hearts out, and I think they're playing very well. But you have to remember, you've got two rookies on the left side, and that is going to have its moments. There are going to be moments where they look like rookies, not because they're bad players, but simply because they're still learning the pro game. They don't have an extensive resume like some of the pass rush and some of the defenses that they're seeing on the opposite side of them. So to me, that's the biggest key right there, is whether or not Drake's going to get the opportunity to utilize his arm. Because as much as we say the Patriots need to run the ball, run the ball, run the ball, and take out Atlanta, Raheem Morris knows that that's his defense's biggest deficiency. He's going to be looking to be able to stop the Patriots' running game. And if they can figure out a way to do that, can Drake May take what he has in his arsenal without maybe a complementary running game and be able to beat the Falcons at what they do best? That to me is my biggest concern.
Steve?
My biggest concern is are the Patriots going to be able to continue their mastery at shutting down other teams' running games? We know how good Robinson is.
Yeah.
And really, the past 2 games since that Buffalo game, he hasn't been, as effective. And that he's going to want to do that this week. And I think that's a key for them, is getting him going. Because when you get him going, everything falls into place for them. We talked about how it works for the Patriots. It also works for them. He's a dynamic player. If they can keep him under wraps like they've been doing with other running backs, I think this game will definitely go in their favor.
All right. Yeah, I would say my biggest concern is, Bijan for sure. Because I know how highly Raheem Morris has spoken of Bijan in the past, and
he called him the best player he's ever coached.
Yeah, and we talked about that the other day. I mean, he said flat out he's the best player he's ever coached, and this is someone who was on the field with Julio Jones having a legendary season. And so you're talking about a player that he said the entire offense runs through him. So now you have to deal with that, because not only is he a threat in pass blocking and running the ball and catching the ball out of the backfield, he can do everything. You have to make sure I have confidence with the Patriots that they're going to contain Drake London in some way, because Christian Gonzalez is that good, but Bijan is a group effort kind of thing. And that needs to be, I think, the biggest thing going forward. So let's get into.
Before we get into our predictions, can I ask you guys a question?
Yep, please. I love throwing the curveballs. You know me, I love the curveball. So if you want to throw one to me, that's fine.
Okay, now, as Mike said, they rounded out their 53-man roster with Terrell Jennings.
Yep.
If they make a move for, let's just say, an edge rusher, right, at the trade deadline, who do you think they let go from the 53-man roster?
Ooh.
This is bad podcasting, because it's a tough question.
Yeah, I think that would be a tough decision.
I love it, Steve. Not going with the obvious there. Like, if they bring in a pass rusher, who do they bring in? It's who are they letting go? Who are they cutting loose?
Yeah, because they'd have to make a corresponding move.
I mean, who would you say, Steve?
I don't know, because I was racking my head about that. I mean, I think they like what they have in a guy like Efton Chisholm, so you don't want to let him go,
right? No,
right? Because he would not make it to the,
he's not going to go through. He's not going to make it through waivers.
Through what waivers? I mean, do you try to risk it with a guy like Del Pettis?
Maybe
who they like as well.
Yeah. That's a really good question, man. I wish
it pains me to say it, but do they look to maybe look for a package where you are giving up a pro level ready player to bring that back? And if that's the case, you have to think that Anthony Jennings might be involved in those conversations. And again, I love Jennings. I really would love to see him hang around. I have since he was drafted. Steve,
He
no
was
bigger advocate than you, buddy.
Yeah, I was gonna say Steve.
he
Steve,
was the third guy that
he's the first guy behind him.
Yeah, nobody is a bigger advocate of that gentleman than our good friend, my Patriots paisan here. But you have to think he might be the guy if the Patriots. I don't think they would cut Anthony, but I think if there was an opportunity for them to work him into a deal where you have a team that might be eager to take back a pass rusher, that could be it.
Yeah, definitely.
Or a run defender, I should say, not necessarily a pass rusher. Run defender.
It's tough. It's tough because I do think they're at a weird point right now. People talk about like, okay, the trade deadline's coming on, buyers, sellers. Okay, and it's easy to be like, just put people in categories 1 or 2. I don't think it's that simple right now with this team, because it's like, do you really want to overextend yourself when you, even though the Patriots are having a really good season, we all are happy about it. Everyone listening's happy about it. But do we know if they are actual contenders? Probably not, if we're being honest. So it's like, do you want to overextend yourself to do that, or do you want to shed a player or two that maybe won't be here as you continue to rebuild the roster? So I think it's a really tough balance, Mike.
Absolutely, a very tough balance for this New England Patriots team. The defense is their bread and butter, but is what they're going to be doing moving forward going to better serve them by letting go of a defensive player or letting go an offensive player? I'm glad Ryan Cowden is going to be the one to make that decision, and Mike Vrabel and Elliott Wolf rather than myself. That's going to be a real tough one this over the course of these next 48 to 72 hours. I think are really going to be the meat and potatoes of their discussion period.
Yeah, I'm wondering if there's anybody else on the roster that they could potentially move. I don't really think so. I think that they're just trying to find the right fit. You know, we go back to Kyle Duggar. We go back to the Jabril Peppers move. The safety position of this defense needs to be able to be very flexible. So I think that's going to be an issue. Not an issue. I guess I should say it's going to be essentially something they have to really evaluate during the season, because they're looking for guys to do both things. You look at Kevin Byard, who played for the Titans for a long time at a very high level, and he was able to kind of play like single high, cover 2, be in the box. He could do it all. We've seen some good things from Craig Woodson, but I mean, it's early. It's hard to say. But I do think that safety is going to be very high up in their eyes in terms of, you know, evaluating college players coming out. You know, I mean, I'm happy they're not going to be in this position in some respects, but it'd be nice for them to get Caleb Downs from Ohio State, but otherwise, I'm not so sure. So if we get into the predictions, guys, let's talk about a couple of these games that are going to be kind of interesting. Colts and Steelers, I thought, stuck out for the morning games. Steve, I'll go to you for Colts and Steelers. Who do you think wins and why?
Hey, look, the way the Colts are playing right now, especially with that running game, I mean, I until somebody, you know, lets the air out of that balloon there, I'm sticking with them. I think they're playing great football right now, and as I've said to you many times, I'm not a believer in this Steelers defense. Usually, that's their bread and butter. But I mean, we've seen it time and again so far this year. Their defense is it's a liability right now, and I think the Colts will take advantage of that. I think the Colts win.
I mean, right now, Jonathan Taylor is playing. Aside from a quarterback, I mean, he's been probably the biggest MVP candidate in the entire league. I mean, he's been incredible. Mike, what about you?
Yeah, I'm right there with you and Steve on this one. Look, until someone derails the high that the Indianapolis Colts are on right now, I'm going to continue to ride with them. You mentioned Jonathan Taylor. Do you guys know that this is the fourth, or I should say, last Sunday um, against the Titans was the fourth 3-touchdown game that he's had this season in 8 starts?
Yep.
That's pretty impressive.
Yeah,
I mean, that
Yep.
is really, really impressive. You look at
that's pretty good.
153,
He's had two.
153 yards.
He's had
Yeah.
two more. He's had 2 games of 3 touchdowns or more.
Yep.
That is more than the Jets have had collectively as a team this
Yep.
season.
Absolutely, it's true, and he's getting it done not just on the ground, folks. He's actually getting it done through the air as well. He's receiving touchdown passes as well as carrying the ball into the end zone. So I think Taylor is playing at another level right now. I think the Steelers are going to have difficulty trying to defend that. And because of that, I look for a big game from Jonathan this weekend. I think the Colts take this one. I think they take it by a touchdown.
The next game I wanted to talk about, well, I want to get to the Chiefs and Bills because I think that's a good one, but we'll save that one for the next. Seahawks Commanders, kind of a sneaky, interesting game. Commanders have, I think they kind of were ahead of schedule. Year one, the Commanders have kind of settled down a little bit. But the Seahawks are playing really well right now. And I think that on the road for Sunday night, I think is going to be an interesting game. Steve, what do you think?
I like Seattle in this because I think Washington's still banged up. I mean,
Yeah,
and
there's been a lot of big injuries. So a
yeah.
lot of these like top tier teams, you're seeing
and,
that.
You know, they didn't look very good the other night. I know they're playing the Chiefs on the road or whatever, but I just didn't think they look like they were hurting. And I think Seattle takes this one.
Yeah,
and they're playing really well. I mean, there's no doubt. The Seahawks are playing really good football right now.
The Seahawks coach is Mike McDonald, I want to say. Yeah, so good defense. They're playing really balanced football. I have the Seahawks winning, Mike, by probably 1 score, but I think they're going to kind of pull away with it.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm glad you mentioned the Seahawks coach being Mike McDonald. I had a whole "what a fool believes" kind of soliloquy that I was going to bring out here today. Keeps you running. Boy, I'm showing my age. Steve knows what I'm talking about, though. But yeah, I think you're going to see a little bit of sweet freedom on the field for the Seattle Seahawks this weekend coming up. Look, I love the zone that Kenneth Walker III is in as the running back of the Seahawks. I love the way that Jackson Smith-Njigba has become a really bona fide weapon for this team and for Sam Darnold at quarterback. And again, it all stems from the lights out defense that this team is capable of playing. Commanders, I think if they were a little less banged up, I think this one would be a little bit more hotly contested, especially because they're going to be at home. But I still like the Seahawks in this one. Again, I like the Seahawks by 7 here.
Let's go to Chiefs and Bills. I mean, it's going to be a battle. The Bills can't seem to get the monkey off their back, and that's the Chiefs. And for Josh Allen, Patrick Mahomes is the boogeyman. I go back and forth on this. The Bills had another big injury that hit them with Ed Oliver. I think that can't be denied. And I have a hard time not picking the Chiefs in this one, again, even on the road. But I think it's a huge point for Buffalo because I think if you lose one of your biggest players on your team to an injury, and then you lose to a team that you just consistently cannot beat, and then the trade deadline's coming up, I think I think there's so much pressure on the Bills this week that if they cannot bring them up, Mike, that I think that there's a chance you start seeing people kind of shutting themselves down.
Yeah, I agree. I think that right now, with the way the Bills are situated, I would feel so much better about their odds coming into this game if Ed Oliver were healthy and they were able to utilize him out there, because the way the Bills have built this defense and even the way they've built their offense, let's face it, they've designed this team to help to beat Patrick Mahomes and the Kansas City Chiefs. Now, I'm not saying
Of
they're going to
course.
do that, but that's exactly what they've built for. That's
It's like the
what
Cold War between like the Patriots and the Colts early on in
absolutely. You
like
always use, yeah, you
yeah.
surround yourself with players that you know can neutralize your nemesis. And the one thing that gives me some hope for this Bills team coming in this weekend is James Cook again is playing at another high level, 216 rushing
Yep.
yards last week. And I remember talking to a few fans of the Georgia Bulldogs and people that watched James evolve as a running back down there. This is not the type of kid that rests on his laurels. If he gets a good game, he wants to go out and have a better game. He knows that the fact that he rushed for 216 yards last week is going to put a big bullseye on his back and right on him, a big target when it comes to Steve Spagnuolo and that defense in Kansas City. They're going to be gunning for him. He likes that. He wants to be the guy that's going to get the ball. Don't shy away from me. Don't use me as a rope-a-dope. Give me the ball. Let me prove that I can beat them at their best. I think you're going to see a little bit of that swagger in James Cook. I think it's going to bring out the swagger in Josh Allen. Dare I say, folks, I think the fact that this one's in Buffalo, I think may tip the scales. I'm going to go with the Bills in this one by a field goal, razor thin, but I think the Bills pull this one out at home. They've had success against Kansas City in the regular season. It's the playoffs where the kryptonite really comes out.
It's funny you said Steve Spagnuolo because I feel like him and Josh McDaniels are in similar boats where it's like, they're great coordinators and it's like that's where they need to stay. And Steve just has been just dominating with that KC defense. They've drafted really well. Obviously, Andy Reid's a really good coach, and Patrick Mahomes is who he is. So we don't have to go through that. But I do find those things kind of similar. Steve, what do you think?
Yeah, I like Buffalo, and I agree with Mike by a field goal in this one. Yeah, they did lose Ed Oliver. That's a huge loss for them. But they're also getting back Jordan Poyer and Matt Milano this week.
Yep.
So that will be a boon to the defense. And
Milano is such a good player, Steve. He just can't stay healthy, man. He just can't. But now he's back, so he's going to make an impact.
Yes, and I just think, Buffalo with James Cook, they're playing at home. I think they win this one. I think this is probably going to be the game of the week to watch, obviously, because I think it should go right down to the wire. And I'm a believer in Josh Allen, so I'm going with the Bills in this one.
All right, we'll get into the Patriots game right now, and then I'll go to you first, Steve. I'll go, and then Mike, why don't you give your take and then take us out? Okay. So, Steve, this week against the Falcons, what are we going to do?
Yeah, I think this is going to be a tough one. I think the Falcons show up for this one, unlike last week against the Dolphins. I think they're going to come into this game playing a lot better football. I expect Kirk Cousins to be better in this one. I think it's going to come down. This one will be one-score game, 27-20, New England. I think the Patriots find ways to keep that offense going, but I also believe that it's going to be a tough sledding in this one throughout.
Yeah, I've gone back and forth on this. I'm not going to lie. I think the Patriots are better than the Falcons. They're better than, honestly, I kind of thought they were going to be at this point in general, regardless of the opponent. I'm a little worried about Bijan Robinson, but Drake May's playing so well that I have a hard time thinking that they're not going to pull away. So I'm going to go with the Patriots 27-23 in this one.
Yeah, I think we're all like-minded in this one, gentlemen. This is probably going to be a compact game, probably a low-scoring affair by, both of these team standards. Once again, Bijan Robinson is going to be the toughest test that this New England Patriots team, this defense, has gone up against when it comes to a running back. It's going to be a very tough matchup for both teams right now to be able to exercise their strengths. But I like the way the Patriots are put together. I think if they can catch Atlanta off base and be able to take away what they do well, it's going to spell well for them in the long run. I like the Patriots in this one. I like them by a final of 21-17. I think the Pats are able to get just a little bit more done on offense than the Falcons in this one to bring home their what will be or could be, I should say. I don't want to get ahead of myself here, but what could be their sixth straight win, and what an amazing run that the New England Patriots have been on.
Yeah.
So, folks, we want to hear what you have to say about the game. What do you believe will be the final score? We'd love to hear your predictions. Drop them in the comments section on YouTube. We would love to hear your predictions and find out if you're right when we regroup after the game and we talk about the New England Patriots and the Atlanta Falcons coming up in week 9 of the 2025 NFL season. And also, the NFL trade deadline is looming large, and we're going to have some special shows lined up for you. So be sure to like, subscribe, and follow the Pats Fans channel on YouTube, and definitely like, subscribe, and follow wherever you get your podcast to make sure that you get the latest episode of Patriots No Huddle whenever it's made available. On behalf of my good friend, the great Derek Havens, my good buddy, my Patriots paisan, Steve Balistreri, I'm Mike Debate, reminding all of you to stay safe, to stay well, to be the change you wish to see in the world. Have a great day, everyone, and we'll talk to you next time on Patriots No Huddle.